Let me paint a picture you probably recognize. You're sitting in a dealership, hands on the steering wheel, surrounded by bright lights and that new car smell. Or maybe it's late at night and you re-scrolling through car listings on your phone while your current car keeps racking up miles. In your head, you're doing the same math almost everyone does. I can handle $400 a month, maybe $500. That's normal, right? Everyone has a car payment. But here's the uncomfortable truth. That mindset is costing you wealth. Thinking in monthly payments instead of total cost is one of the biggest reasons people who earn decent money still feel broke. This isn't about irresponsibility. It's about decisions that feel normal but quietly sabotage your future. My name is Pete, and I spend an unreasonable amount of time analyzing why people who do everything right still cannot get ahead. If any of this feels familiar, this is for you, because this isn't really about cars. It's about how one single decision can shape your financial future for decades. We're taught that cars are just a normal part of adulthood. You need one to get to work. Newer cars are safer. Used cars are risky. So financing a car feels responsible. It feels smart. But that belief comes with a cost most people never calculate. Today, car payments aren't small. They last 5, 6, even 7 years. And while you're making those payments, the car is doing only one thing financially. It's losing value. The moment you drive it off the lot, it starts shrinking faster than most people realize. Higher payments, higher insurance, higher registration, all for something that never grows. So here's the rule I want you to understand. Until you've built real wealth, you shouldn't have much of your money tied up in a car. I call this the $5,000 car rule. And before you check out thinking, there's no way I'm driving junk. Stay with me. This isn't about punishment, it's about leverage. Cars don't build wealth, cash flow does. Every dollar going to a car payment is a dollar that can't be invested. It can't compound. It can't buy you options later. Most people don't lose financially because they're careless. They lose because they follow a script they were never taught to question. And once you see what that script is really costing you, you will never look at a car payment the same way again. In the video, I'll show you 2 choices. Same income, same effort, very different outcomes. Let's make this real. Imagine you're in your mid-20s, standing at a very normal crossroads. Nothing extreme, just 2 choices almost everyone faces. The first one feels responsible. You buy a newer car, it looks good, it feels solid. You put some money down and finance the rest. Your payment lands $500 a month. The interest rate isn't terrible. The loan is long, but that's normal now. You tell yourself, it's fine, you can afford it. The second choice feels uncomfortable. You buy a reliable used car outright. It's older. It's not exciting, but it starts every morning and gets you where you need to go. Most people stop thinking right here. They compare comfort, they compare features, they compare how each option makes them feel. They don't compare what happens to their money. So let's do that. With the financed car, you don't just pay the sticker price. You pay interest, you pay higher insurance, you pay higher registration. Over the life of the loan, you spend tens of thousands of dollars. And when the loan is finally gone, the car is older, worth far less than what you paid, already pushing you toward the next upgrade. For most of that time, you didn't really own it. You rented it from the bank. Now look at the second option. Instead of sending $500 to a lender every month, you redirect it. You invest it. Nothing fancy, nothing risky. Just consistent investing over time. 6 years later, something interesting happens. The person with the financed car has a used vehicle worth a fraction of its original price, and nothing else to show for those payments. The money is gone. The person with the paid-off used car still has transportation, and a growing investment account worth tens of thousands of dollars, same income, same timeline, completely different outcome. And here's the part most people miss. This isn't really a math problem. It's a psychology problem. We've been trained to believe cars signal success, that the newer the car, the more put together someone must be. But that's not true. Someone earning good money with a large car payment is usually under more pressure than someone earning less with no payment at all. One looks successful, the other is actually progressing, and that difference matters. Because money pressure changes behavior. It limits risk-taking. It keeps people stuck in jobs they hate. It makes every decision feel heavier. When you remove a big fixed expense like a car payment, something shifts. Your financial breathing room expands. You invest more consistently. You handle problems without panic. You say no more often. That's real power. People defend car payments by saying they need reliability, but modern cars last far longer than most people think. A well-maintained used car can be incredibly dependable. The gap in maintenance costs exists, but it's tiny compared to the cost of payments, insurance, and depreciation. What feels like playing it safe is often the most expensive option. And this isn't a one-time mistake. Most people repeat it again and again. Every few years, another upgrade, another loan, another reset of the clock. Decades of cash flow quietly drained into something that never grows. That's why so many people reach midlife confused. They earned more than they ever imagined, yet they still feel stuck. The problem was never income. It was the decisions that felt normal. In the next section, I want to address the biggest arguments head-on. 1. Reliability. 2. Image. Third, and the most dangerous one of all, I can afford it. At this point, a few objections usually show up. They're reasonable, they're emotional, and they're exactly why this matters. The first one sounds logical. Cheap cars are unreliable. I'll spend more fixing it than I would on a payment. Here's what actually happens. All cars require maintenance. New cars, used cars. The difference is that with a new car, you're paying for maintenance and a monthly payment at the same time. With a used car, repairs are visible. Payments are invisible because they're automatic. Even if a used car costs a little more to maintain in a given year, it's still nowhere close to the total cost of financing. One unexpected repair feels painful. 6 years of payments feel normal. They're not. The next objection is about image. I need my car to reflect success. My clients expect it. Here's the truth. Most people don't want to admit. Unless your job involves driving clients around, almost no one is thinking about your car. They care about results. They care about competence. They care about how you solve their problems. There's also a strange pattern worth noticing. People who actually have money rarely feel the need to prove it. People who feel financial pressure tend to prioritize appearances. That's not judgment, that's incentive. When your income depends entirely on showing up every day, image feels critical. Now let's talk about the most dangerous objection of all. I can afford the payment. This is where people get trapped for decades. Affordability is the wrong question. The right question is what this money is costing you long term. A payment that fits comfortably in your budget can still cost you hundreds of thousands over time. Not because of the payment itself, but because of what that money could have become if invested. Opportunity cost doesn't show up on your bank statement. It shows up in your future options. Now here's where this becomes practical. This isn't about driving a cheap car forever. Think in phases. In the early phase of building wealth, your goal is simple. Reduce liabilities, increase cash flow into assets. That means buying a reliable used car with cash. Nothing flashy, just functional. Every dollar that would have gone to a payment goes somewhere better. Into investments, once you've built real traction, things change. Your investments grow, your net worth grows. Now you have options. You can upgrade to a nicer used car, still paid in cash. The difference is that the cost is now small compared to what you've built. You're buying from strength, not obligation. And then there's the final phase, the one people obsess over. When your assets can support your lifestyle, when work becomes optional. At that point, the car doesn't matter anymore. Buy something nicer, or don't. Either way, it doesn't control your future. Here's the irony. By the time people reach this stage, many lose interest in expensive cars entirely. They have experienced something better. Freedom. This approach isn't about saying no forever. It's about saying not yet long enough for compound growth to do its job. In the final section, I'll show you how this plays out over an entire lifetime and why two people with the same income can end up in completely different lives. Now let's zoom out, because the real cost of car payments doesn't show up in one decision. It shows up across an entire working life. Picture two people, same age, same starting income. The only meaningful difference is how they handle one recurring choice. The first person follows the standard path. Every few years, they replace their car with something newer. The payment stays roughly the same. It fits the budget. They invest a little when they can, mostly through workplace retirement plans, but large pieces of their cash flow are always spoken for. The second person takes a different path. They buy reliable used cars with cash. They avoid payments. They invest aggressively and consistently. Not because they're extreme, because they have room to breathe. Fast forward a few decades, the first person worked hard, earned raises, did what they were told was responsible. They spent hundreds of thousands on vehicles over their lifetime. Their net worth is respectable, but tightly tied to their job. The second person spent a fraction of that on transportation. The money that never went to car payments compounded quietly for years. Their investments now create options. Earlier retirement, career flexibility, same income, completely different outcomes. That's the power of compound decisions. And that's why this rule isn't really about cars. It's about how you think. Most people evaluate purchases by asking one question: can I afford the payment? Wealth-building people asks a different one: what does it cost me? When you shift from monthly thinking to long-term thinking, everything changes. You stop optimizing for comfort today and start optimizing for freedom later. Here's the part no one talks about. The excitement of a new car fades fast. After a few weeks, it's just your car. The payment sticks around for years. Wealth works in the opposite direction. It starts quietly, almost boring, but it grows. Every month your investments rise. This isn't about deprivation. It's about choosing a different reward. So here's your challenge. If you have a car payment, calculate its real cost. Take that monthly number, run it through an investment calculator. Look at what it could become over 20 or 30 years. Then ask yourself honestly, is this car worth that version of my future? If you're planning to buy a car soon, pause. Just pause. Research reliable used options. Run the numbers both ways. Give yourself the chance to choose deliberately instead of reflexively. You don't need extreme discipline. You need clarity. Most people never build wealth because they never slow down long enough to see the trade-offs. They stay busy. They stay comfortable. They stay normal. Normal just happens to be expensive. This rule is one of the simplest leverage points in personal finance. It frees cash flow early. When time is on your side, and once you feel that freedom, you start applying the same thinking everywhere else. Spending, lifestyle upgrades, investments. Wealth isn't created through dramatic moves. It's created through quiet decisions, repeated consistently. Decisions that favor your future self over your current ego. If this perspective helped you, subscribe and share it with someone who is about to sign a car loan they don't need. And if you disagree, leave a comment. I want to hear where you land, because every financial decision is a choice for looking wealthy now or being wealthy later. Thanks for watching. This is Pete Profit, and I'll see you in the next video.